Ladies and gentlemen, this is huge. This is an important segment. John Durham. Huber's out playing golf. Who knows where he's at? Hopefully he's doing something great. Nobody will be happier if he actually does something with the Clinton email investigation. We'll see. Nobody will be happier than me. But John Durham is going to interview Christopher Steele. Again, John Durham, who already prosecuted government officials, FBI agents, decades in prison, is going to interview Christopher Steele. John Durham is not playing any games. We're going to get to James Comey and his nonsensical defense of the Steele dossier in a moment. James Comey sits down with CNN, April 19th, 2018. About 13 minutes and 4 seconds into it. You're going to hear that part of the segment. Christopher Steele to be interviewed by U.S. investigators. Steele interview about Russia collusion. Myth should reveal, this is Joe DeGeneva, Democratic Party corruption. You have a situation, ladies and gentlemen. Dossier author Christopher Steele will be questioned by U.S. investigators. And thank you so much for people, and if you want to contact me, it's contactgoodman78@gmail.com. Thank you so much for the kind words regarding Rush Limbaugh mentioning and speaking about my Federalist article today as well as yesterday. So we spent about 10 minutes yesterday speaking about my Federalist article, my latest article in the Federalist. It talks about just massive corruption linked to Madam Cyberhack, the Golden Muumuu. Why is it that everyone... the article, if you go on YouTube, is why is the info generating Mueller's probe all linked to Hillary Clinton? John Durham needs to investigate why the info generating the Mueller probe is all linked to Hillary Clinton. At a certain point, it can't be mere coincidence that every major figure involved in probing Trump's campaign is linked to Hillary Clinton in some manner. Madam Cyberhack, the Golden Muumuu, purchased the Steele dossier by funneling money through a law firm. Democrats outsourced CrowdStrike. Alexander Dumbo Downer is linked to the Clinton Foundation. Direct link. Andrew McCabe, the number 2 at the FBI, his wife received hundreds of thousands of dollars from Terry McAuliffe, who is essentially a reptilian, insidious duplicate of Comey. You know what? In the Olympics of just insidious, vile, duplicitous, disingenuous political monsters, it's going to be a close. Comey, I think, possibly defeats Terry McAuliffe, but it's so close. Terry McAuliffe is linked to, obviously, as a Clinton money person, fundraiser, major fundraiser, governor of Virginia, former governor of Virginia. And he just happened to give Andrew McCabe's wife hundreds of thousands of dollars. Andrew McCabe just recused himself, a week before the election. He was part of the whole thing, spoke about the insurance policy with Peter Strzok. I mean, what other links? Cody Shearer and Sidney Blumenthal had their own dossier. Bruce Orr's wife, Nellie, worked at Fusion GPS. I mean, this web, all roads lead to the Golden Muumuu. The Golden Muumuu is pulling the strings here, and every string is linked to a major participant in this overt and transparent, nonsensical hoax, myth, bogus waste of U.S. history. But this is a waste of American history. You could thank the Democrats for that. And Rush Limbaugh, very, very honored that he spent so much time yesterday and even today speaking about my Federalist article. Very honored about that. And You look at Christopher Steele's being interviewed by John Durham. There are so many questions. He was desperate, and I explained this in the article. Christopher Steele was desperate to undermine Trump. He had essentially almost a vendetta against Trump. He was paid $160,000. He was outsourced by Fusion GPS. His firm Orbis was outsourced by Fusion GPS, who was paid by a law firm at the behest of the Golden Muumuu, Madam Cyberhack, the last person you'd want, the absolute last person you'd want. The absolute last person you would want to speak at a cybersecurity conference. But I digress. She's actually the keynote speaker at a cybersecurity conference. You might as well have Jeffrey Dahmer speak at a cooking conference or a Food Channel Network Iron Chef, competition. But anyway, let's go ahead and listen to old James Comey here. This is CNN, and it'll give you a sense of everything. Almost everything that comes out of his mouth is an overt, deceptive, nonsensical, absurd lie, which is basically, what most Democrats are about. But let's continue. Let's listen to this.
Let's talk about the investigation and what you can talk about it. In January 2017, when you met with President Trump and you did that oral presentation of what's in the two-page memo summarizing the Steele dossier.
By the way, that was a very nasty form of essentially blackmail and trying to show Trump that Comey had leverage over him. If you really cared about helping Trump or informing Trump, you would inform him before he became president that there was a Steele dossier, not after he became president. And you are there with President Obama saying, "Hey, look, we have this over you." They try to flip the script and say, "Gosh, we just didn't want to be like J. Edgar Hoover." That's exactly what they were doing. See, Democrats and James Comey and Andrew McCabe and James Baker and all of these people, they're very interesting. They think if they just say something, then it actually will erase the intention and the obvious nature of what they're saying. It's almost like a bank robber who is like, "Just to let you know, I didn't speed away from the bank with that pile, this giant duffel bag of money because I wanted to rob the bank. Just to let you know, I'm actually articulating and giving you a description of what I did. Therefore, since I gave you the description, it's null and void, and it never happened." That's what their philosophy is about. Well, I'm being upfront with you. I'm actually explaining what took place. No, you're not explaining what took place. You are repeating, and you know what? They do this a lot on the left. Even the fact check place, they do this a lot. They'll repeat something and say, "Gosh, but really, honestly, it's not that big of a deal." Like they'll say, "Oh, well, it's just political chatter." What's political chatter? Peter Strzok saying, "We will stop Trump." It's like, no, that's not political chatter. That's not, "Gee, you think Kasich has a chance?" That's, "We're investigating Trump, and we are going to stop him." It's an admission of criminal activity. This is U.S. Code 18371. I explained in another Federalist article. Very proud to be published in the Federalist. Very proud that Rush Limbaugh, 2 days in a row, spoke about my article. And the first day spent about 10 minutes. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's really, really, really important. You have to listen to Comey, and you have to take his words, and you have to kind of not dissect them, but you have to take them with a grain of salt. In that, when you're listening to James Comey, you have to always understand that every single word is meant to hide the reality of what actually took place. His goal is deception. Most communication is, let me explain the reality of something. When Comey speaks, it's let me deceive you and trick you. So let's continue.
We know from the book that you talked about these unverified allegations involving him and prostitutes. Did you brief him about any of the other things in the Steele dossier? Claims that his associates, Michael Cohen or Paul Manafort, were potentially working with the Russians, or was it only about the prostitutes?
It was only about.
Okay, hold on.
If it was true, we didn't know whether it was true. It would be important to let him know this as.
We didn't know if it was true, so then why would you give him a document that you didn't verify? You're admitting to not verifying it. Yet you already used it for. You didn't know if it was true or not, and this is amazing. 13 minutes and 51 seconds in, James Comey sits down with CNN. This is on YouTube, CNN. You didn't know if it was true, yet you utilized it for a FISA warrant for Carter Page? Ladies and gentlemen, in this segment, we just showed that he broke the law. But let's continue.
Part of a defensive briefing.
While we're on the subject of the dossier, by the time you left, how much of it do you think you were able to either prove to be correct, verify, or debunk?
The work was still underway. I wouldn't be able to say anyway if I was still there.
The work was still underway. Then why did you give it to a FISA judge?
But the work was still underway when I was fired.
Some of it, is it fair to say that some of it you verified as true and some of it you debunked as false?
I think all I can say is a core part of it was consistent with lots of other intelligence, core part of it being the Russians are engaged in an orchestrated campaign.
See, that's wrong. That's such a deceptive statement. A core part of it, none of it was true, even the core part. The core part of the Steele dossier says that it was a concerted effort. See, the notion that the Russians interfered in the election is based not on certainty or fact or any guarantee. It's based on a confidence level assessment. And I explained this in the Federalist articles. My Federalist article that Rush Limbaugh talked about. There are warranty disclaimers in the two intelligence community reports. The disclaimers say, don't confuse anything we say as fact. This is just our opinion. We guarantee nothing. We have we have low confidence to high confidence assessments, no certainty, no guarantees. The belief that Russia hacked the DNC is not rooted in fact. It's rooted in the trust of a third-party tech firm that's outsourced by Democrats, CrowdStrike. The United States government cannot certify or verify CrowdStrike's assessments. It never saw any of the actual images from the servers on their own. They didn't obtain images on their own. They had to rely on CrowdStrike to give them images. But the Steele dossier doesn't just say, well, the Russians are interfering. It doesn't say that. If you read it, it's a bunch of nonsense. It's like poorly written fiction, like the Mueller report, like the ODNI and DHS reports. It's all a bunch of nonsense. What took place, what the Steele dossier states, and this is what John Huber's going to ask, what the Steele dossier states is that it was a concerted, organized endeavor. A bunch of people who conspired with Trump, Manafort, Carter Page, Flynn, Michael Cohen, who went to Prague, and all these things, alongside Russian intelligence, to hack the DNC and to hurt Clinton and all that stuff. That's not what happened. The United States intelligence, Mueller report states categorically. What does the Mueller report state categorically? The Mueller report states categorically, and here it is. The evidence was not sufficient to charge that any member of the Trump campaign conspired with representatives of the Russian government to interfere in the 2016 election. The Mueller report contradicts the Steele dossier. The Mueller report contradicts the Steele dossier. The Steele dossier says, with absolute certainty, that there was a grandiose endeavor to hack the DNC. This grandiose, organized, meticulously planned effort to hack the DNC and infiltrate and Facebook ads and all that stuff at the behest of Trump, with Trump organizing everything, with people around Trump organizing everything, alongside and with the help and with the logistical support and all that stuff of Russian intelligence officers and Putin himself. That never happened. I just read you the Mueller report. It never happened. The Mueller report debunks the Steele dossier. So, I think it was Voltaire who said, when you diss me, you diss yourself. That's, I think it was Snoop Dogg. I don't know who said that. But when you cite the Steele dossier, you diss the Mueller report. You undermine the Mueller report, and vice versa.
To influence the American election.
That's so ridiculous. Who believes this? Oh, by the way, Hillary's running again. I can't believe I waited until 16 minutes in to say it. My goodness, I'm losing it.
Michael Cohen, I want to ask you about him. He's now under criminal investigation by the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York, your former job. CNN's reporting that one of President Trump's former lawyers is warning the president that Michael Cohen could flip. And also we're hearing, and lots of people have reported, that President Trump and his advisors are much more concerned about the investigation into Michael Cohen than they are into...
So hold on, where does he say...
I want to ask you a devil's advocate question about President Trump. You are a person who privately beats media, not from personal experience, the moment she's elected.
Criticizing President Trump could...
All right, so... I think this is the interview where he says, I didn't know... I didn't know who commissioned the dossier. But Comey says he didn't know who funded the dossier. Okay, so this is Fox News. That's absurd. You're the head of the FBI. You were supposed to trust you because of your wealth of knowledge. That's just boundless wealth of knowledge, endless wealth of knowledge. Here it is. This is a Fox Business article. Comey says he didn't know who founded the dossier. And I will put this... Well, here, it's Fox Business, April 27, 2018. Comey says he didn't know who funded the dossier. This is hilarious.
When did you learn that the DNC and Hillary Clinton campaign had funded Christopher Steele's work?
Yeah, I still don't know that for a fact.
What do you mean?
I've only seen it in the media. I never knew exactly which Democrats had funded. I knew it was funded first by Republicans.
No, it wasn't. The Washington Free Beacon has already debunked that. They utilize Fusion GPS like, I believe, President Obama utilized Fusion GPS. Lots of people have utilized Fusion GPS. It's just a firm with ties to a whole bunch of politicians. They stopped utilizing Fusion GPS. Then Clinton utilized Fusion GPS, and then Glenn Simpson of GPS went and got Christopher Steele. Republicans had nothing to do with the dossier. Another deceptive statement. These are intelligence community officials. Why would they speak without a clear strategy or objective? It certainly is not the truth. It is certainly not the truth. You can go from the Gulf of Tonkin to Facebook ads and tell me these wonderful revelations, these wonderful moments. Look, there have been great FBI agents and CIA agents, fine. Over the years, I'm sure there have been. Generally, from the Gulf of Tonkin to Facebook ads, we've had just intelligence failure after failure, and we just had faulty intelligence. Always, forgive them, it's okay. It's like, no, your track record is not stellar, number one, and because your track record is not stellar, number two, we don't have to revere you or even trust you.
But that's not true.
It's not true.
When did you...
Here.
When did you learn that the DNC and Hillary Clinton campaign had funded Christopher Steele's work?
Yeah, I still don't know that for a fact.
What do you mean?
I've only seen it in the media. I never knew exactly which Democrats had funded. I knew it was funded first by Republicans, opposed to Donald.
This is hilarious. The guy doesn't know who funded a dossier he used to initiate the most sprawling internal probe, government probe in U.S. history. This was a longer and bigger ordeal than Watergate. I mean, the guy is lying beyond belief. Comey says he didn't know who funded Russia dossier. Fox Business, April 27, 2018. So it's like, it's just unbelievable. It's just unbelievable, ladies and gentlemen. You're talking about the roof caving in. John Durham is going to say, hey, look, you know what? You might have also committed some crimes, Christopher Steele. When you lied here and there saying, oh, yeah, this is intelligence. This is not intelligence. This is a compilation of gossip that is complete nonsense. Complete and utter nonsense that you passed along and then he was let go from the FBI. Give me your thoughts below. Share the information regarding Rush Limbaugh and my article below. That is below in the pinned comment. And you can also find the actual portion and subscribe to Rush Limbaugh on his channel where he talks about, you can actually hear him talk about me and my article in the Federalist, my latest one. And my Patreon link is below if you want to support my voice long term. Ladies and gentlemen, it's happening. It is happening, ladies and gentlemen. Christopher Steele is going to be questioned and interviewed by Durham in the Durham probe. Thank you.